Oh,
Yes,
anytime. It's just open to the public?
Yes.
That's awesome.
You get, like, I saw students just kind of sitting by the fireplace doing their homework. I think they're from, my guess is they were from Columbia College.
Yeah. So
anyway,
okay.
We are, the reason I bring this up, and thank you for allowing me time to gush over it, is the sauced holiday market coming back to the Chicago Athletic Association. So that's another excuse to hit this wonderful place.
Do you think the sauce means like drunk? Like the sauce?
Maybe. We're going to, Anita asked that. I don't know if you heard her.
She did?
She's like, does that mean sauce like sauces or sauce like you get?
Yeah.
Some? They do have a good bar menu
beverage
there.
options?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I drank a hot toddy to see if it would help my voice. It did not at all.
Your voice
but it was very good.
Well, I didn't picture you guys at a fancy place like that when you were telling me about this story.
Yeah, no, it was,
that's one.
I'll never forget that day because I was communicating with.
I love it so much.
So funny. Okay, kickoffs this hour of Chicago Now. There's a lot of news coming out of Hollywood, as always, and so we are checking in with our very good friend, wishing happy holidays to the one and only Mr. Michael Babcock, joining the show. Thank you for being here, bud.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We are hanging in. How's the weather out there? We're at like -15 wind chill here.
Oh no! Here, let me see. Well, I was going to say it's chilly, but I won't say that because of what you just said. It's 55 right now.
Oh
so
man!
Are you drinking a hot beverage?
Balmy, exactly. But
Michael, you got a good drink with you every day?
Yeah.
What you got
coffee
today?
They've got a nice breakfast that they've gotten for us today here.
What?
Charles, as a matter of fact, from TMZ. So they've got the whole like omelet station and bacon and everything. So yeah, I'm really full right now.
Oh my gosh!
Good. Yum. Now let's take a nap.
That's really nice of Charles.
Yeah, right. That's what I could use one.
All right, let's dive into what's cracking. In terms of news, Michael, I understand. You know, we obviously were following the Matthew Perry situation.
Yeah.
After the tragedy unfolded, and then obviously the aftermath. But there's been a development there. Do you mind running us through that quickly?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first person has been sentenced in relation or in connection to Matthew Perry's death in 2023. And I mean, it's so disappointing. It is a doctor, it's a physician, a guy by the name of Dr. Salvatore Placentia. He had pled guilty to 4 charges of distributing ketamine to Matthew Perry. And he was facing an incredibly lengthy prison sentence. He was facing 40 years in prison. Nobody thought that he was going to get anything close to that. He ultimately ends up getting only 2.5 years in prison. He was taken into custody immediately, right from where he stood in the courtroom. He's taken away, and now he will obviously serve that 30-month prison sentence. But again, it was many more years that he was facing. Ultimately does not get that 30 months. He will obviously likely never practice medicine again. And this is somebody who went to school for years and years and took an oath to do no harm. And obviously he is now admitted in court to not only not doing any harm, but providing drugs to Matthew Perry that ultimately took his life. So just a terrible situation.
So I know we reported earlier that he had known that Perry was having issues with drugs, and he still prescribed him the ketamine.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, Matthew Perry started taking the ketamine as a form of therapy, and it then turned into addiction on its own. And this guy knew, I mean, he was not administering this stuff in an office. I mean, he was going to Matthew Perry's home and giving him large doses of the ketamine as they were sitting around watching movies. Clearly, Matthew Perry was being treated in a certain way because of his fame, but it ultimately ends up killing him because he takes too much, and he's in his hot tub and he slips under the water, and that was it. And now you got this guy who's Placentia, the doctor, is only 44 years old. He was really towards the beginning of what should have been a really nice great and prosperous career for him, and now he will spend it sitting in a prison cell.
Did the doctor say why? Did he say why he did that? It was just because
I think money. He was texting, and I think that's what's really, that's one of the more disappointing parts of this too. That the doctor knew Matthew Perry had addiction issues and that he was in a bad way. You should see the way that Placentia was talking about Matthew Perry, calling him a moron, talking about how much money they could get out of him. And ultimately, the prosecutors say that Dr. Placentia got something like $55,000 over a 6-week period. So a lot of cash in a short period of time.
That is so disappointing.
Yeah, they clearly knew and were taking advantage of Matthew Perry and his.
So there was, I was going to ask Michael, about Matthew Perry's family's reaction, because I understand that his folks were at the sentencing. Is that right?
They were, and they didn't speak, but they wrote a victim impact statement. It was Matthew's mother and Keith Morrison, who was, of course, people watch Dateline. Keith Morrison, a longtime contributor over there for NBC, and he was Matthew's stepdad, and they both were, mom and stepdad, wrote a letter to the judge, and especially mom. You can tell. I mean, it's been 2 years now, and she says, "Look, I still feel empty. I still feel like a part of me is missing. This was my firstborn son, and he is gone." And you could just feel the hurt, when you read the words. You could just feel the, a mother's pain. And it's not going to bring Matthew Perry back, obviously, but hopefully it provides them some sort of solace to see him, taken away in handcuffs yesterday.
Right.
I'm seeing here that more people are expected to be sentenced in connection. So who else are we talking about?
Yeah, so there's another doctor that he will be sentenced. There is this woman who has been dubbed the ketamine queen. People may have heard that nickname that she's gotten. There's this woman who is accused of essentially being the connect to a lot of different celebrities in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. Has all these celebrity connections, and she would ply these actors and musicians with drugs, allegedly. So, she is going to be sentenced. There's another doctor. Matthew Perry's physician is Matthew Perry's assistant is going to be sentenced. Matthew Perry's assistant is allegedly the one that got the drugs from Placentia in many cases and then gave it to Matthew Perry. So there are in total 5 people who are wrapped up in this Matthew Perry death.
Okay.
All right, Michael, let's switch gears and talk about another topic that is local here in Chicago.
Yeah.
The city of Rosemont. I don't know if you're familiar, if you've flown in and out of O'Hare a lot, but it's right by the airport, the big airport here in Chicago. You've been. I was just saying to somebody over here, I've never even been to Chicago. Oh my gosh, Michael, we gotta.
I want to come visit you guys.
I've never been to LA. Let's do a house trade.
Can we swap? Yeah. Okay, you come here and
just like the movie The Holiday.
That'd be so great. Well, we feel like we know you. It'd be so fun to have you.
I would love to hang. I would be so excited if we could hang out.
Yeah.
So
Tara Reid. This has to do with Tara Reid. Update us.
Yeah, so I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It was like November 23rd, and she was at this DoubleTree in Rosemont, and she said, I wanted to go to the hotel bar for a drink. She believes that when she was outside taking a break from the bar, that somebody spiked her drink, and she ultimately is in really bad shape medically and taken to the hospital. Again, she believes she was drugged. She filed a police report with the Rosemont police. They have investigated. Here's the new part. They say, look, there's no evidence that she was drugged. They say we've talked to people, we've talked to witnesses, we've monitored or looked at surveillance video, and there is nothing to indicate, nothing to show that Tara Reid was drugged. She says, because we called her then, and she sort of says, look, I don't know, but I know that you don't just become incapacitated for 8 hours, is the way she put it, after you have one drink. So she is sticking to her story. She believes that somebody put something in her drink. It's just that the police say, hey, there's no evidence that happened.
I wonder if obviously she would know better than anybody else. If she's on some sort of medication or something that she didn't realize wouldn't mix well with alcohol, and then that happened. But great question. You gotta agree with her, right? Just a regular alcoholic beverage wouldn't have you falling out of your chair like that.
You wouldn't think so, right? She was really in distress too, and she did not seem like she was herself. So and I don't think they're necessarily saying that she's, calling her a liar or making things up. I think they're just sort of saying, look, if it happened, we just don't have the evidence that it did.
Yeah,
got it.
Right.
Hey, in terms of Tara Reid's, is there any history of reported substance abuse or anything like that, or addiction issues with her?
There is.
Okay.
Yeah, she has struggled with substance abuse issues in the past. I think it's been fairly well documented over the years. Unclear how she's been doing the last couple of years. I don't know if she's gotten those issues under control, or if she's still battling those demons, but she certainly has had issues in the past. And I think that's why some people have been skeptical of her story. Some people have, the police might not say she's lying, but I think a lot of other people have said, we think she's making this up. She's got problems with alcohol, and this is just another case of that manifesting itself.
Yeah, well, we hope she's okay. Yeah, we were reporting that this morning on our news program, Michael, that Rosemont PD has actually released some video showing the bartender, I guess, put a napkin over the drink. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Right. But and she said, and that's interesting, because she said when she got back, there was a napkin on her drink, and she said that made her suspicious. I think clearly it was the bartender probably trying to protect her.
Help her.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, exactly, because Rosemont PD said the video, we looked at the surveillance video, and we can see the bartender doing that, but nothing in the way of tampering or putting anything in the drink. Yeah. I mean, is there any other, Michael, are you aware of any other possibility that she's throwing out there? That was she with anyone else earlier?
Yeah, well, she met it's interesting because she met a YouTuber at the bar, and I think that, you know, they had some sort of drama or some sort of argument beforehand. They weren't exactly friends, but apparently they ended up spending some time together. So that's really the only person that she could even point to having been there with her on the scene. I don't think she knew anybody else from everything that we've gathered. So no, I think the theory's been that she's, at least according to her, that somebody put something in her drink, and that's what she still believes happened, even despite what the police have obviously now said.
Okay.
It's a scary situation, for sure.
Exactly.
It is.
So they can get to the bottom of it.
Michael, nice to see you, sir. Hopefully
it was great to see you guys.
All right.
I want to come visit now.
I know.
Come on.
One day, I'm coming.
Let's go.
55 degrees there. Thank you, Michael.
Maybe I'll wait till it warms up a little bit.
There you go. That might be a good
Summertime shy.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but then we are going to be speaking about something that had all of us talking before the show today.
Ooh.
A Wall Street portfolio manager he's a reputable guy. He's gone viral for a post that he made. It was a blog post saying that the new poverty line for a family of 4 in America is $140,000 a year. That sounds like a lot, right? Well, he broke down, kind of itemized why, and it's a talker. Trust me on this one. We're going to talk about it more when we come back after this.
Finish your
guy.
Come on over, 1021. I'm just giggling because the elf painted my husband's nails last night.
Oh boy.
The elf on the shelf, just getting into
that naughty
it's
elf.
So funny. Send me a picture. I cannot. Okay, let's talk about Sauced. Sauced returns to the Chicago Athletic Association for a festive holiday night market. And in front of me, you can see actual sauce. So I think
we were curious whether you
both?
leave sauce or...
It's both.
It's both.
It's both. It's actually
sauced.
like
and eat some sauce.
More than both.
So we're going to dig in. You know, this is Sarah Freeman. She is the founder of Sauced Night Market, and she's here in studio to tell us what we can expect. So let's start with what this market is about, and also how many years have you been doing the Sauced Market?
11 years.
11
So it's obviously working.
It's working.
It stood the test of time. At that, you're northward of a decade now, so something's going right. Has it always been at the athletic club?
We've been there pretty much since they reopened. So 8 years, I think. Took a break during the pandemic, but it is the most perfect place to have a holiday market. Like, even though we've kind of outgrown it, we just can't leave.
Because it's so great. I mean, you've probably heard my opening monologue today about this place, right?
Yes. I mean, look at these pictures. It's so cozy.
It's such a great place. So, Sarah, tell us what the Sauced Market is. I've never heard of a whole market based on, I mean, you brought in 4 bottles of sauce here. But is that kind of the connective tissue for all this stuff? Is like there's a lot of sauces to try?
No, we're not like a hot sauce festival. Sauced is, when we came up with it, we kind of wanted a word that was going to encapsulate the different elements of the market. So we knew there was going to be a food component. We knew there was going to be drinking. We knew it was going to be a little bit more of like a party vibe than your typical like craft fair. So it's just,
I like it. I really like it.
Being carried around in those pictures, which I'm a huge fan of, a little bit of a bevy, and then you can get some items. So let's talk about what you have on display here on the table. We're zooming in on a couple of these things.
Yeah, so we're going to have 40 vendors at this market, a little bit of everything. I brought, what did I bring today? 5 of them that'll be coming at the holiday market. We always have a ton of jewelry vendors. Try to find a bunch of jewelry vendors that are all different, so you're not going to find anything that looks similar to each other. So we have Virginia Day.
Are these hair clips?
Is going to be here. Yep, and that's not kimono. She makes these beautiful glass hairpins.
Wow, they're glass?
She will do your hair if you buy a pin at the market.
No way.
Yep.
Oh, so these are really intricate.
She does insane work. You sit behind her booth. She will do braids and then show you how to put the hair clips in.
Oh, wow. Okay. Then we got some notebooks here.
We've also got some notebooks from Barovian Books. He hand binds all of these notebooks. He's got the big ones. He's got some little ones. He also does leather notebooks. He recently started adding pens and these really beautiful like bands that you can put around the notebook that will hold your pen to it.
Whoa.
Made by hand in Chicago, Illinois.
And some of that paper that you see on the back page is also handmade.
That's really, really nice.
Yeah.
These are very unique gifts.
Yeah,
right?
Special. Like someone would get this and say, wow, this is going to be in the family.
Absolutely. A thing that we have a ton of vendors that want to do our events, which is amazing. And the things I look for when I'm kind of putting the lineups together is quality goods and vendors that have really kind of mastered their craft. Like they know what they want to make. They've done a really good job making it, and they have a very specific like design style that they've perfected. So their items are really unique and kind of make a statement or like stand out.
Sure.
So the gifts that you have, we had another market in, is this for everybody? So you can find stuff for babies, to kids, to adults, to grandparents?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we're less family friendly than some of the other markets that are out there because there are just so many pop-up markets. When we started Sauce, we're like, what is missing? What can we do differently?
Okay, so this is geared towards the adults.
Yeah, it's a little bit edgier, it's a little more adult. We definitely have vendors that I think they don't fit in at some of the more mainstream markets.
Okay.
So we've got, like, what can I say on television?
Who's coming back this year that's been here every time you've thrown these markets? Is there somebody who's a return?
Sayre, our hot sauce guy. I think we can see we do have our own custom branded hot sauce. He's been with us pretty much since the beginning. We make sauce, which is our own hot sauce with him. That's one of his most popular sellers at our markets.
Okay.
He's been with us from the beginning, but I would say every market, about at least half of the vendors are returning from previous markets. Yeah. We also have vendors that come in from out of state. So like Virginia Day, she's based in Milwaukee. We also do some markets up there. We actually have one this weekend up in Milwaukee. So we have vendors that from all over the Midwest, not just Chicago. Really just like, bring in what I think is going to be the best lineup of vendors that will appeal to everyone, but also kind of like hit our quality standards and our aesthetic that we go for.
Okay. And so we had our company party at this venue last year or the year before? A couple of years ago. And they have a game room with a bar.
Yes.
So does that stuff stay open? Like you can get a cocktail and then just kind of stroll around and check out these booths?
The market's going to be on the 4th floor in the basketball court. So
that I was talking about.
Yes.
It's so cool.
The historic basketball court.
Yes, the basketball court. Yeah, tell us about the venue. And you said you've outgrown it, but you can't leave.
It's our I think this is our smallest market of the year. It's 40 vendors. It's 40 great vendors, but you know, I would love, most of our markets are in the 50 to 60 vendor range. Not quite as big as like one of a kind show that's happening right now where they have like 300. I never want it to be an uncomfortable shopping experience. I want it to be somewhere where you can hang out and have a good time and not feel overwhelmed by what's going on. So yeah, it's 40 vendors. We're in the basketball court. It's covered in the beautiful like twinkle lights. But yeah, everything else in the hotel is going to be going on. So you can come in. Happy's, I believe this is the last year the Happy's pop-up bar is happening in the swimming pool.
Yeah, the tank. Down in there in the tank?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can grab a drink at their like Christmas bar, come upstairs, hang out with us, buy some presents, go to the game room, try to get into to Cindy's.
Yes.
Some of the vendors and I are staying at the hotel for the weekend just because it's easy and it's nice and why not. Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I think the Loop's kind of become a weird place and people are not hanging out there as much anymore, and it's a shame because there are such special places around here and on Michigan Avenue, and to be able to just come spend a night at Chicago Athletic Association with us, there's plenty to do.
It's so cool.
Is there parking there?
There's
like
valet parking, there's a garage nearby, Blue Line's right there, Red Line, like it's, you know, I think.
Caitlin, if you do an overnight, you park here and just walk. That's what we did.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're already paying.
That's what we did. And so it's like it's a great in-town like staycation type.
I love that.
And do you make it a tradition to spend the night at the? Yeah, I can see why, because it's such a fun Chicago thing, and I like hanging out, you know, at the fireplace and.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, it's also putting on these markets is a lot of work, so it's easy just to like not have to go home at the end of the night. Yeah.
Okay, so in terms of price points and that kind of thing, can you kind of run us through what we're looking at?
Oh yeah, everything. Like we're gonna have these cute, you know, these ornaments I think are $13. This is from the Painted Loom, so definitely a lot of like stocking stuffers, easy stuff to buy.
Yeah.
This market in particular though, because it's downtown, I do bring in some higher price point vendors, and you know, it's also people are looking for gifts. So we've got some like more like fine jewelry people that's gonna be in the couple hundreds. But yeah, really a range. Like I said, it's got something for everyone. It's got notebooks, we have art, we have clothing, we've got a lot of like food gifts, so the hot sauces, but also spice blends. We have a kombucha vendor. So yeah, if anyone comes in and they do not find something to buy, like that's on me. I'll say you can have your money back, but it's a free event, so you know.
When you had started this event at the Athletic Cup, because you said you had moved it to the Athletic Cup, right, after a couple of years, what was that process like? Are they very particular about the history of the place? Like, did they say you can't do this, you can't do that, or?
They're great. I mean, we do 5 markets a year in Chicago, and this is our only one there. I love finding venues that just get what SOST is and what SOST is trying to do and supports us and supports the small business community that we are trying to uplift. They've always been an amazing partner. Every year we open up like 15 minutes early so the staff can come and shop.
Oh, nice. That's great.
Yeah, I would say, you know, the hiccups of doing an event like this where there's so many moving parts in a really historic building. There's one elevator for us to like, for the whole like back of house staff and vendors. So we are like fighting with the like room service and housekeeping to try to get all these vendors loaded into the 4th floor. I have seen like all of the weird behind the scenes stuff and corners of this hotel. It's cool. It's like spooky, but also in a very like nerdy, interesting kind of way.
I took like a self-guided tour there, checked out some of the ballrooms. Actually, in one of those shots, you can see a little bit of that old track
No
it
way.
goes above the above the gym.
Yeah.
It's really cool. All right, so this is happening December 12th and 13th. What are the hours and any other details you want folks to know before we let you go?
Yeah, 5 to 10 p.m., 12th and 13th on the 4th floor. Guests can RSVP. It is optional, but if you do RSVP and you include your Instagram in your RSVP, you will be entered to win $50 to spend at the market.
At the market, okay.
So
and
fun.
where do they do that? Where do they pre-RSVP?
Yeah, they can go to saucemarket.com. It's also linked on our Instagram at saucemarket. Yeah, it's going to be a great time.
All right,
Okay,
Sarah Freeman, founder of Sauced Market. Happy holidays and good luck with an awesome event next weekend.
Have fun.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about another kind of show that is happening at the Mart. Slightly bigger venue, the Mart. Yeah, I think it has its own zip code, Caitlin. That big. Well, that's when we can come back. It's the one-of-a-kind holiday show.
All right, 10:34. 'Tis the season for markets and shopping and getting ready for Christmas.
Stocking stuffers.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about tchotchkes, one-of-a-kind holiday show at the Mart. We are joined by Kathleen Hogan, who is the managing director of the One-of-a-Kind show. Good morning, Kathleen.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Great. How are you doing?
Great. The doors just opened. So
All right.
just
What floor
opened.
of the Mart are you on right now? I know each of those floors is massive.
we are on the 7th floor. It's about 100,000 square feet, and it's filled from one corner to the other with artists and now all of our shoppers. So it's amazing.
My gosh.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, so one-of-a-kind show. What is this one-of-a-kind show?
It is unique products by small businesses, makers, crafters, and it's anything from gourmet food to the fine art behind me to gifts. For anything on your holiday shopping list, you'll find here.
Wow. Okay, so 100,000 square feet. How many vendors do you bring in? And give us an idea of the variety of stuff that is up for sale.
We have over 600 artists.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's big. There's over 200 of those are new. We have a small section called the emerging market within the space as well that are brand new to exhibiting at all. It's quite a variety of very seasoned artists down to very new brand new artists that are just starting out. So you get such a great variety, and that includes both price points and just their stories and inspirations behind it. I think that really is what makes being here so unique, is you're getting to talk to the artists and learn more about that really gift that you're getting.
Okay, so let's walk through the experience when someone comes to this one-of-a-kind show. So they walk in, we're mentioning different levels, different floors. Are you guys grouping these kinds of gifts together that are similar to each other, or how can someone guide their way through this market?
So we do make it very easy. It's all on one floor. So that while there's lots of floors in the merchandise mart, the show is all on one floor. And we have a few different sections, but the majority is just explore and discover. So we have, as far as sections go, there is a gourmet section dedicated to gourmet artisans. There's a fashion district, an entire fashion district that you will see all types of apparel, accessories, and jewelry that will be in the fashion district. And then we have artists that like to just be, among other artists, variety, kind of, like I said, explore and find a surprise item. But you get to kind of discover as you go.
I really like the video. We're seeing some really cool video of the mart from past years. How many years has this been going?
So this is our 24th year. Wow. And it started out with just a small show on the second floor of the merchandise mart. And it's grown, I think that had about 100 artists in it, and it's grown over the years to be almost maxed out at 620.
That's unbelievable.
Wow.
Now,
okay.
Where do most of these artists and artisans come from?
Majority, I would say, are the greater Midwest, but we do have artists that come, quite a few that come from Canada, and a few other countries are here. So it's the Midwest and beyond, anywhere in the U.S. And then our team travels all year long looking for new art to bring to Chicago, and really the best of the best is what we're looking for.
Oh yeah, I see some popcorn. I bet it smells so good. Okay, so Kathleen, let's talk about how much it costs to buy the tickets. And I'm seeing that the cost of tickets, the ticket sales will go to a good cause.
That's right, yeah. A percent of each ticket goes to Lurie's Children's Hospital here in Chicago. And you can get your tickets either on site or you can get them on our website. And you can come shop from Thursday today through Sunday at 5 o'clock.
What are the hours? So you guys just opened for the day today, correct?
We did. We opened at 10 o'clock today, and we go to 7 o'clock today, tomorrow, and Saturday. And then Sunday, we close a little bit early at 5 o'clock.
Okay. What is your advice for someone who really wants to make this, the foundation of their holiday shopping? They're looking for stuff for friends and coworkers, stocking stuffers, that kind of thing. Do you recommend driving down yourself and bringing some kind of big old canvas bag, like a big shopping bag? Is that how the seasoned pros do it, or what's your advice there?
We do see a lot of shopping bags. We see some carts. We actually have courtesy carts here at the show. So if you don't want to carry all those bags, you can put them into courtesy carts that you can borrow for a couple of hours. We also have coat check where you can bring different purchases and put them in the coat check as you go. But I would definitely suggest giving yourself a good several hours to explore so you don't miss anything, because there's really something from every part of the floor, and you don't want to miss it.
So I'm seeing here that there's going to be some good food and beverages. What are you guys offering?
So we have several different bars and restaurants on the show floor, anything from sandwiches to hot items, and we have cocktails. You can kind of spend the day. We have Bailey's liqueurs, a big hot cocoa treat bar that you can sample Bailey's in hot cocoa or coffee. So really just kind of spend the day and take your breaks. There's live music on the stage throughout the day. There's artist talks within the gallery space, which is where I'm at right now. So if you want to take a break from your shopping, there's lots of other options. We have a Marwin craft hands-on art making. So if you're inspired by some of these artists to try it yourself, there's an opportunity for that as well.
That's great. Is there somewhere folks can go if they're curious online to get a little schedule? I don't know if you have some of these workshops and talks all laid out in a nice itinerary, but is there anything available for folks?
Yes, absolutely. Everything about the show is on our website, oneofakindshowchicago.com. And we have a features section on that website that you can find all the times for all of the events and scheduling that you can kind of plan your day accordingly.
This is the question that I always ask. Can we bring our kiddos? Is it appropriate for children?
Absolutely. Yes, it is. In fact, we have different events. There's artists that kind of cater towards the kids' items. So you want to make sure that you bring them. They can pick things out for the holiday season as well.
Good, fun.
You can make a whole day out of it. This is really great. Kathleen Hogan, thank you so much. And I hope it's a huge success, and I hope all the vendors sell a ton this holiday season and raise a ton of money with the ticket sales as well.
Great. Thank you so much. It's a perfect thing to do on a cold day.
Oh, for sure. Cozy inside at the Merchandise Mart. All right, Kathleen, thanks so much. Happy holidays.
Thank you, you too.
Okay, we are going to speak about finances when we come back. You know, we've been talking a lot these recent weeks about what to budget for your holiday shopping. Well, Gen Z has put it out there, I guess. A lot of Gen Zers, they want to be financially independent by age 32.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to process
I don't know what that means exactly. Financially independent from...
Yeah. 32.
In what way? Like debt-free or like
not living in their parents' basement anymore? 32. I gotta think about that number. Is that late in life? Is that early in life? Is that average now? Wow. Okay.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we're gonna find out with financial expert Scott G. Kyle when we come back after this. Everybody, stay with us.
Room. 10:45. All right, Gen Zers, listen up. I guess that Gen Z is wanting to be financially independent by age 32, and we've got lots of questions. What does it mean to be financially independent? You know, from your parents.
And is 32? How does that compare with? I mean, like the boomers, weren't they a lot of them?
16?
Yeah, exactly. My parents got married at like 21.
You know, we'll get into our opinions. But financial expert Scott G. Kyle is here this morning to talk to us about it. Good morning, Scott.
Hi, Scott.
Good morning.
Okay, so Scott, my opinion on this is that you should be financially independent when you get cut off from your parents' insurance, which I believe is, what is it, 25 or 27?
Age 25, indeed. Yeah, no, that could be a definition. It's really however you define financial independence, but there's some basic concepts to it. And one is that you're not relying on other people. That could be the government, your parents, or even a job, so that you built up enough wealth so that you have freedom and choices and control over your life, and you're not really beholden to others. So that's the ultimate definition of financial independence, but people can define it really any way that they want. But certainly not living in your parents' basement. That would not be considered.
Okay, wait. So Gen Z, they don't even want to have a job. They want to be so financially independent that they don't need a job for income.
Yeah, it's surprising, but it's actually achievable, even at the age of 32. And so really, one could have an income of $1 million and not be financially independent because they overspend. We talk about that in the book we wrote, where people are sort of Instagram rich and they appear to be very wealthy, but they aren't living within their means. We can talk about that. Or you could have a modest income, and if you start early enough, you can develop financial independence even in your 30s. So it's really just a matter of how you're managing your finances and creating those passive income streams that would supplant support from, again, your parents, the government, or even a job.
What is an example? Let's take that middle example where you mentioned, the possibility of having a moderate income, but then kind of more of a simpler lifestyle by your early 30s. What's an example of some of that passive income that you just mentioned?
Sure, and if you start early enough, you can really create these income streams that compound or grow over time. So, for example, let's say you have your first job, and your employer offers a 401k or some type of retirement plan. So, if you put some money aside using the 50-30-20 rule, being spend 50% of your income on your needs, things like housing, 30% of your money on things that you want, so going out with friends, going to parties, things like that, and then 20% of your income into savings. So if you really emphasize that savings part, especially early, because the earlier that you start saving, the more money works for you. Think of money as like little agents out there working on your behalf. And so if you put them away and let them work, they actually multiply and compound over time. So if you start saving, in this case, in a retirement account, a 401k, fairly early on, then the compounding effect, which is money earning money, so not you earning the money, but your money earning money for you. Again, think about having little workers out there working for you. That can really have a powerful effect over time. But the key to that sentence is over time. It doesn't happen overnight. And often people want to try to get rich quickly, which is very difficult to do. But if you start early, put systems in place and automate those systems, then you wake up one day, you're 32 years old, and you've built up great passive income. So that can be in the form of stocks that pay dividends, and those companies will pay regular dividends every 90 days or so. It could be owning an income property, like a rental property, where you put down a down payment, things like that. Those would be examples of great passive income sources.
Yeah, I was going to say the 401k wouldn't really be a passive income that you could dip in because you got to wait till you retire. But that's a great goal. So 32, they just don't want to work anymore. They want to save when they're in their 20s and then be debt-free and rocking and rolling into retirement at 32. Let's talk about, I'm reading here a couple of things about the holidays. So it looks like Gen Zs want to spend less money on holidays this year as opposed to previous years.
Yeah, really, any spending should come with a plan. And so, just like you wouldn't go to Hawaii without a plan and a return ticket, you don't want to, send your money off on a one-way ticket and not have a means to come back. So going into the holidays where you may want to overspend, it's good to have a plan and a budget, really coming back to the basics. As I mentioned before, the idea of the 50-30-20 rule. So the 50% of your needs could be making sure your rent is covered, paying down any debts. The 30% could be wants, things like traveling to visit family, going to holiday parties, things like that. And then the 20%, you just make sure that you, for example, max out your retirement account, your 401k, and pay off any debts. And so by having a plan, you can get through the holidays without ending up with a New Year's hangover, as it were, a financial hangover.
Scott, let me ask you how much has changed compared to previous generations. Caitlin and I were talking about, my parents, for example, I'm older than Caitlin, but they were married with kids in their early 20s. We have been talking so much this year about inflation. Back in my parents' day, I know the mortgage rates were a little higher, but the homes were more affordable based on typical income levels. A lot of those dynamics have changed here in 2025. How is that impacting Gen Z's ability to attain this level of independence?
Yeah, great point and great question. Every generation faces, different opportunities and challenges, and that could come from different technology, cultural shifts, things like that. So I remember, for example, I'm a bit older than the two of you, but when I was in my early teens, I had a paper route. This is back in Chicago, actually, in the 70s.
Nice.
I would deliver papers in the snow and in the heat of summer, but I would have to go out and literally collect the money from my customers, and in $1 and $5 bills, then put it into a savings account. These days, kids rarely even see money or even know what it is. So they have technology which can facilitate good habits, but it also can prompt some bad habits as well, because with the digital economy, when you spend money, it doesn't seem real, right? The tap of a button, you can spend $100 without even actually physically seeing it. Whereas in my day, we would have to bring out the roll of 1s and 5s and 20s. So on the one hand, technology can be detrimental because it reduces the friction to spend money. On the other hand, technology through budgeting apps, things like that, can help you automate systems to facilitate that savings and create that passive income that we were talking about before.
So Gen Z is using, speaking of technology, AI to help them save money. So they're really wrapping their arms around the new technology. Is there ways that us older generations could also use AI to help us save?
Absolutely, yeah, it's accessible to everyone. I recently started using ChatGPT just because my kids gave me so much grief for not even knowing what it was. And indeed, it's been a great resource for me on all fronts, including financial. So there are great resources out there that exist today. Again, back in the day, I had my stack of encyclopedias up on my shelf when I would have to study and look things up. But now it's really at your fingertips. So I would encourage people to really educate themselves, whether that's through reading books like the one that we wrote or through prompting on ChatGPT to try to address any issues that they have in front of them. And so that can be a great resource as well.
Okay, one question I had kind of on the parental side, in terms of encouraging, when you talk about how some kids don't even know, like they've never seen cash, sometimes I get the impression that my oldest, my 9-year-old, doesn't have an idea of like, hey, Theo, those Jordans cost $100. Okay, do you know the fact that that's $100? Like that's 10 allowances you could save up for 10 weeks. He just, because he's not seeing those denominations, it can be hard. What can we do as parents to maybe instill a little of the groundwork in our kids to have an appreciation for the value of money and encourage them to save?
No, that's a great question. Yeah, the first thing we can do, like with anything in life, is just be a great role model. So really model out the kinds of behaviors you want for them in terms of being prudent and wise with your money. But education and communication is also really key. Part of the reason why we named the book "The Other Birds and Bees" is the idea of kind of the sex talk that parents, myself included, as a parent of 2 teenagers, are often reluctant to have with their kids. But really, talking to them and making it fun and interesting and relatable is very, very important. So, for example, my kids would give me so much grief when I would stop at Starbucks, in any city that we were in, and they're like, "Dad, do we have to go to Starbucks again?" So what I did is I actually bought them a few shares of Starbucks in their small, little custodial accounts, their savings accounts. And now when we go into Starbucks, they say, "Oh, thank you, all the customers. You're giving me a penny for everything that you buy in the form of, my Starbucks gain." So again, just doing things that create that connection with your kids and make it relatable is a great way to educate. Setting up a small account that you contribute a few dollars, and then talk to them about what kinds of stocks you may want to buy. Do you want to buy Amazon? Do you want to buy Google? Do you want to buy Nike? How do you spend your money, child? And then would that be a good investment for you for the long term? So those are some things you can do to make it fun as well.
Okay, so Scott, I want to bring this up because we were going to talk about it earlier, but we decided we were going to wait and just bring it up with you because it's a very interesting topic. I guess this Wall Street portfolio manager named Michael Green has gone viral for a blog post saying that the new poverty line for a family of 4 in America is $140,000 a year, which to me, that just blows my mind. But Anthony, I know it breaks down the different costs for families these days.
So the Department of Health and Human Services set the federal poverty level at like $32,000. So this viral post breaks it down. childcare, 32 grand a year. Housing, 23 grand a year. Food, 14 grand a year. Transportation, 14. Healthcare, 10. Other essentials, 21. And then he put taxes at 18,500. Now, I don't know if he means property taxes there or just all the sales tax we're spending. But how do you react to that in terms of, you're a finance guy. Is there a method to this number that he came up with 140 grand a year?
Yeah, it really brings the conversation full circle, which is to say you could make a lot of money and not live within your means and really live as though you're in poverty, in a sense of being underwater, being stressed out, living paycheck to paycheck. And here in very wealthy Southern California, we see that quite a lot, where people are, as I said before, sort of Instagram rich. Or you could have less income, certainly less than 140,000, and be financially independent or on your way to being financially independent. So, it's easy to spend money that you make. It's harder to save it. And so I guess you could really define poverty any way you want. And I could come up with a lot of ways to spend money to get over that poverty line. But I think it's an interesting concept. And I think it really just comes down to the basics of that 50-30-20 rule and making sure that you're putting money aside for the future you, and then being responsible with the rest of your money.
I like this. So, let's before we let you go, I want to dive a little bit further into the 50-30-20 rule. Okay, what is a good way to accomplish that? I know that, for example, we have a certain, every time we get a certain deposit to our checking, I think something automatically goes into our savings. Okay, so we've automated that. That feels good, right? How do we achieve this 50-30-20 without having to work real hard at it each month, if that makes sense?
Yeah, that's a great question. And really, I'm a very goal-oriented person, and goals are very important. So having a goal of saving or covering your needs and so forth is important. What's even more important, in addition to goals, is the idea of systems, which you really hit on. The more that you can create systems that are automatic and simple, the easier it is to achieve really any goal in life, whether it's physical or financial or otherwise. And we really think about the idea of being healthy in multiple areas: your brain, your body, and your bank account. So in the case of your finances, by creating those automatic systems and using technology to do so, that's what's going to make it not only easier but stick. Because we're heading into the holidays. People often have these grandiose goals for the new year. I'm going to go and work out and lose 10 pounds. And then by January 14th, that motivation's gone. Whereas if you put a system in place that's automatic, that system will live long beyond your motivations and desires and even goals that maybe you wrote down but put in a drawer somewhere. So you really nailed it by the idea of creating those automatic systems that will just take care of themselves over time.
That's good stuff. Scott G. Kyle, thank you, sir, for your expertise. Happy holidays to you.
You as well. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
50-30-20.
Don't forget it.
Yeah.
Do the math. Get your calculator.
I like that rule of thumb. All right. We're coming up on 11 a.m. here on our Thursday morning. We're back with more Chicago Now after this.
Stream. on this version of Chicago Now. Listen, I'm so happy to get to the weekend. I don't know what to do with myself. I don't care how cold it is.
Do you feel like it's been a long week or a short week? Gone by in a flash?
I feel like every day is a week.
Right?
Yeah, that's how I'm feeling.
Especially with the cold weather. I mean, it's cold out there. I just went over to ChicagoNOW over in River West. It was so fun. They're celebrating 2 years this weekend, so they have a bunch of like deals going on in their food market. I had a nice hot bowl of ramen.
Ooh,
doesn't that sound amazing?
Right. Ooh, with some pork belly and egg. Ooh, I think that's what I'm gonna have for lunch today. So thank you so much for that.
I will say that this morning when I woke up, I'm parking outside my car, and it's freezing out there.
So
it took a while to get it warmed up. So everyone at home, if you are planning to go somewhere and you're parked outside, make sure you let your car warm up for a little bit. Not like me.
Don't just leave it warming up with the key inside, though, because this is Chicago.
This is Chicago.
I'm just saying, you got to be safe. Okay, let's talk about what's coming up on the show today. We have a jam-packed show, including our friends over at Block Club Chicago. This has been an issue that we even talked about here on our air as well, about the Christkindlmarket and what will happen. We're going to talk to them all about it. They also have a video that went viral, I saw just yesterday, that they're going to talk about as well. This involves when ICE was in town.
Okay, but speaking of, too, with the cold weather, do they shut down the Christkindlmarket when it's this cold?
It usually just keeps on rolling.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So make sure you follow their website for updates, because they do give updates on things like that in case they do ever have to close. And now is the time, believe it or not, to plan. I know it's kind of, you may be like, well, we're already in 2026, but this is the time when people start planning those family trips. So maybe you're a person, you're watching us right now in Northwest Indiana. Maybe you want to spend some time in downtown Chicago. That was the bean. You see people surrounding it. Is this a good destination? We'll talk to an expert about that. But first, we got to talk to our very own Sylvia Perez, who gets to go to some of the best restaurants in the Chicagoland area.
Guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
So this weekend, you're going to be talking about game day foods, right?
Okay, who's excited about the Bears, first of all, right?
Super Bowl.
Yeah, thank you.
I see sweep at the minimum.
I mean, last week's game proved the Bears are more than everybody thought they were, right? So we're kind of keeping the Bears theme going, and so we are hitting all these hot spot like upscale bars that not only you can go to watch the game, but you can get some great food. So bar number one, you guys already know this. You know him, you love him. Former Chicago Bears legend, Israel Adonijah. He's been on the show a million times. One of the nicest guys in the world, am I right?
He is.
Super, super sweet. So Israel has made it his passion that he wants to build up the South Loop. So he's been opening places. He has 3 places now. One of the latest is called the Staley. It's his Chicago Bears bar, and it, of course, is named after the Bear mascot, Staley. And what makes this bar so special, I think we have some video, is they have not only tons of screens, but they have huge windows in there, and they also have shades that they pull down that become projection screens. So no matter where you're sitting, you're getting a great view of the game. The food is done by this award-winning chef who owns a few restaurants, including Sky, very well-known, fine dining. He's collaborating with Israel. But what's so cool about this bar, besides the food and the drinks, awesome, is for years, this was a former Green Bay Packers bar.
I was going to ask that.
Yes.
I love that.
So Izzy said the family, put it up for sale, and he called them. And he said on occasion people still come by and say, hey, what happened to the Green Bay bar? And he's like, hey, this is a Bears bar now.
I love it.
Doing very well. So if you haven't been, highly recommend, great place to watch the game. Okay, so that's our first stop. And then we went to a really cool place, which you're going to be interested in this, Gabby, because of what you do. It's called Michael's Original Pizzeria and Tavern. It's in Uptown Chicago. Have you guys been?
No.
Okay, so they're known for their super duper thin, crispy crust. Did you try some when I brought some back?
You brought it back.
Yeah.
It was really, really
so good. And you didn't even have it hot, because it's better when it's hot.
That means a lot.
Yeah,
even when
it's that thin, crispy cracker crust, and when you bite into it, it doesn't fall apart. Well, Dave Portnoy was there from Barstool Sports. You follow up.
I did see his review.
Yes, and he loved it. I think he gave it one of the highest reviews, 7.6. It's an old neighborhood bar. It's been there for 30-something years. And what's also amazing is it's really affordable. Like, we talked to a guy there, he says he'll get his bill and he'll say, did you forget to charge me something? Yeah. I mean, how nice is that?
Okay. Did I break a window?
Yeah, right?
In this economy, that's
right? Yes, so that's in Uptown, also known for their wings. And then this one just cracks me up.
Oh, yeah, those wings were good.
Yes, right?
One of those.
Yeah, they weren't too hot, right?
No.
Okay, so now we're talking about Jake Melnick's. Okay, Jake Melnick's is known for its wings, and a lot of people say they are the best chicken wings in the city of Chicago. They do the different variations, you know, you have your buffalo and stuff, but they go from super mild to super hot, like 4X hot. Listen to what this 4X has. It has habanero peppers, ghost peppers, scorpion peppers, and something called the Reaper peppers. Okay, so they gave us a bunch of stuff to bring back, and I told them, I said, make sure you mark that box.
Yeah.
So one of our producers, I thought, I'm not putting this out in the newsroom because someone is going to choke, and it's going to be my fault. My photog reached for, when we were shooting it, and I screamed, no, don't do it. And he didn't listen to me. He put it in his mouth. Next thing I know, he's choking.
No.
He's coughing. So they, years ago, had to get approval from Secret Service to fly these particular peppers in because they were considered illegal. And now, I guess everybody uses them. But yeah, they had to get, like, Homeland Security didn't exist back then, but if they did, they would have had to clear Homeland Security.
No
In the meantime, our producer, Vanessa, I'm calling you out. Her husband woke up one morning at 2 a.m.
Yes.
Did you hear the story?
Middle of the night, yes, I did.
Decided to try these chicken wings that Sylvia gave her, and she says she's upstairs sleeping, and next thing she knows, she hears him coughing. I said, oh my gosh, what did you do? She goes, I didn't do a thing. I just kind of chuckled and laughed and went back to sleep.
Eating her leftovers.
That's hilarious. Okay, and then finally we go to RJ Grunt's, which is one of the first Let Us Entertain You restaurants in the city of Chicago. Let Us Entertain You is a very well-known restaurant conglomerate in Chicago. They've been around forever. You know them from RPM, all kinds of great restaurants. This was the very first lettuce restaurant, and RJ is one of the sons of the Melmans, okay? And it's just a great place. Like, Tia, if you wanted to go with your child, you know, they cater to families, the food's amazing, and it's old school vibes.
I love that.
And all the pictures on the wall are from the employees they have had over the years. So super fun. Those are the 4 that we visit. There's a shot there of, of RJ Grunt's. But we also kind of do a little revisit because we're talking about tailgate food. We're talking about what you want to serve at home. So we revisit our behind the scenes of the Vienna beef facility, which was awesome. I don't know about you guys, but I'm a true Chicago girl now, and when I do my hot dog, it's got to be Vienna beef, right?
No other option.
It's just so delicious, right?
Is.
Our roasted bread.
Like that snap. They call it the snap, which is all important. And then we also go to the Bona Beef facility because the Bona Beef family has also been a Chicago staple for years. And I love the history of these 2 sandwiches, if you will, because there's a big debate. Is a hot dog a sandwich? Right. What do you think?
No.
No.
Okay. I think we all agree, right? No. But yeah, there's a big debate about that. But we go behind the scenes. And so this segment, this half hour, is truly all about Chicago. Tasting Chicago, we call it that for a reason. We're airing some of the pieces this week, but you can also watch the whole half hour streaming on both Saturday and Sunday at 1 and 7.
Okay, I got 2 questions.
Yes.
So what is the wildest, because we were seeing now all of these like compilations of like different things that people are doing with game day food.
Yeah. Yes.
They're like reimagining game day food. What's the craziest thing that you've seen?
I'm trying to think of the craziest thing I have seen.
Or like a mashup, you were like, what?
Well, this isn't so unusual, but it's quite delicious. And so I didn't get to mention this to you. So Israel Adonijah, as I said, we all know, former Bear. How wonderful for him. He now has some of his food at Soldier Field.
Yes.
So he came full circle. He's played for them.
Right.
He left, but he said once a Bear, always a Bear, and now he's got his food there. And he's doing this amazing pulled pork on top of his mac and cheese that will blow your mind. Yeah, really, really good. Have you seen any strange matchups?
No, not that I can think of.
People do like
right now.
There's a big trend going on now where people are combining sweet and savory, you know?
Yeah.
Like, those are two foods that maybe used to think that they were separate, but they're really being brought together, you know? And
I'm sure there are some. I just can't think of them now.
You know, I know someone who went to Tailgate recently, and they made like a jam burger. You know, like made it kind of
was
like
it the bacon jam?
It actually wasn't a bacon jam because that's what I asked. I love it too, and I actually love like any jam on a habanero jam on a burger or something like that. But they had a strawberry raspberry jam, and I thought that was a little bit weird. And I think I want to say they made it like Cajun style too, and so it was a little bit of a Cajun flair with a little.
Well, then, since you asked that question, what's the strangest combination you eat?
Strangest combination I eat.
You can think about that too.
I've had like sometimes I'll eat ice cream and chips at the same time.
You like to dip?
Not together. Like not put them together, but eat them together.
Okay.
You know what? Speaking of jam, last night, I love peanut butter and jelly. I love like taking a spoonful of each and like just like having that as a little snack, which kind of gross to probably some people.
Oh, that sounds good.
The bread.
So wait, you're just dipping in the peanut butter and jelly?
I try to keep it.
I'm not eating one at your house because that means you double dip.
Well, when my husband's home, no, I try not to. But when I'm by myself, maybe a couple times. But I was a little hungry, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a cracker. I'm gonna get some goat cheese and some pepper jam that I had, and I made it. I made a little couple of servings for myself.
Yeah, my weirdest thing that I do, well, when I was a kid, I always loved rice and ketchup. I don't know why. I loved it. I know that's strange.
So weird. I would do that.
Rice and ketchup, mix it up.
Eggs with ketchup. I was just like a ketchup fanatic when I was a kid.
But then, I haven't remembered the last time I've had one, but like an Egg McMuffin, I love to put jelly on an Egg McMuffin.
Me too.
Okay,
yeah, so I could agree with you. It's something about that salt.
Yeah, but again, which is sweet and savory.
I mean,
yes. Well, that's the other thing. I mean, I'm obsessed with hot honey. I put hot honey in everything. Yeah, and that's also kind of trendy, isn't it?
It is, even in drinks and things like that.
See, sauces in general, you guys, jelly, actual sauce, ranch dressing especially.
You like sauces.
You do? Yes.
Yeah.
Jake Hamilton was sitting in this spot not too long ago, and he told me he does not like any sauces.
He does not like sauces. I took him to this.
Crazy cat.
Just this Sunday, I took him to one of my favorite burger places that's gone viral. I've talked about it before with you guys, I think. It's called NADC, Not a Damn Chance Burger. So I wanted him to go. We went. And it was so funny because one of the things they're known for is their sauces. And the guy who was behind the counter, I loved it. He was kind of grumpy and crotchety, you know. And so I ordered my burger, and then Jake ordered his, and he goes, and the guy's looking down, and he goes, Jake says, I want mine without the sauce. The guy looks up and he goes, you're ruining everything. And then he goes, okay,
you're ruining
one burger without the sauce, one burger the way God meant it to be.
That's hilarious. Okay, before we let you go, Sylvia, I must ask you this. You know, you've done a lot of these segments on food. You've done the noon show where a lot of people come in and, you know, you have to taste live on air drinks. Have you ever had something, you don't have to call out the place, but have you ever had something, the camera's rolling, it's live, or maybe it's taped, and you're like, ooh, this isn't that good?
I have, and I was with Mark Strell on a Sunday. And Mark and I couldn't lie, and we were both looking at each other. Fortunately, it wasn't that person's product. She had brought a few things in.
Okay.
And Mark and I were like, okay, we can't lie. This is bad. Because, you know, we don't want to fake our viewers at home.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. But I said, it's okay, but we have to be honest because you're pitching this, and if you are going to have us try it, you know, that was the only time that's ever happened. I was with Mark, and you know Mark.
He's straightforward too.
Yeah.
What was it? Was it chalky? So was it like?
It was a drink that just tasted horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was a new line of things that came out. I was like, wow. Mark and I made Mark made a really funny face.
I can only see it. We're going to have to see that clip back. I have to say, when I'm out in segments and you know, have
I was going to ask you too.
Yeah.
I'll have to tell them, like, hey, look, don't put any alcohol in it, because one, I don't want to waste it. I'm not going to drink it all on a morning show. But two, because any type of mixed drink, you guys, in my first sip, I'll always make a little face.
Oh, you do?
Even if it's good.
Yeah,
it's
really?
Weird. It's like a weird reaction.
Your brain is kind of thinking about it?
Don't know what it is.
Have you had Malort?
Yes.
Okay.
We had some Malort here.
We did.
Remember the ice cream?
Well,
no, you weren't here that day.
No, I wasn't. But in the 10 o'clock hour, we just had, I think, a vendor come in and bring some Malort flavored hot sauce. I haven't remembered myself to show you. So,
you know, it's funny because there are people who are known, you know, you guys have heard of, like, some people can't eat certain spices and stuff. Like cilantro tastes like soap to some people. So for people who tend to have a tendency to like bitter things, they actually like Malort. I saw a really funny. Yes, he likes bitters. I saw a really funny segment. I can't remember if it was Chance the Rapper or somebody. They took some Malort to try it on Kelly Clarkson on her show, and they gave it to her to try on the air, totally expecting she was going to go, ew, this is horrible. She liked it.
Anytime someone mentions Malort to me, I automatically feel sick. Like, I literally right now,
it's kind of fun, though.
Feel a little sick.
Yeah, it's kind of fun because it's once again, it's a Chicago thing. I actually interviewed a great guy who wrote a book on Malort, and it's a great love story of this attorney who brought it, you know, from a different country. Oh,
this is Anthony tasting something. That was the sauce.
Did he like
Malort.
it?
Oh,
and
probably.
Yeah, he's having a good time.
Yeah, see, he likes that bitters. So there's probably other things he would like too.
Yeah,
but
really
if you ever get a chance, go look up the history of Malort. It's fascinating. Yeah. It really is.
So I have to ask, what's next on the docket?
Oh, we've got a really fun thing next. I just shot last week. I went to 4 different bars that are totally changing for Christmas. So, I mean, beautiful. And did you guys know this? I learned this 2 years ago from my daughter. Every year for about 10 years now, Wrigley changes its bars so that they're all Christmas themed. Okay, so there's one strip by Wrigley Field where they all do that. And the reason they did it is because people, if there was not a baseball game going on, the bars couldn't attract anybody. So they've turned it into the Wrigley Winter Wonder Fest. They all convert to Christmas bars. It's so much fun to go and see. And there's one lone bar in there that is the only Hanukkah bar. And probably the only Hanukkah bar, who knows, you know. And this guy decided, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to turn this into a Hanukkah bar. So we go to his Hanukkah bar.
I love it.
We go to a few other places in the city. One of my favorites you'll see is in River North, and it's stunningly beautiful. Really fun.
Yeah, they're all like perfect for like Instagram, and Facebook, and pictures.
And plus to put you in a happy spirit.
Yeah, I've been there before. I didn't realize it was that official.
Yes.
I thought it was just like, okay, everyone happened to go on the same bandwagon.
No, there's history behind it. They were trying to get business in that area, and it's worked. Yeah,
really
it has worked.
All right, well, I wish next time when you come, you got to bring some of this stuff.
Okay, I will.
Now I'm hungry.
I will.
And I ain't got nothing to eat.
We can work that out. We can bring it. I'll make sure you try it before we go on the air, so there's no facial reactions.
We'll do it. All right, thank you so much, Sylvia. That was a lot of fun. All right, well, coming up a little later, right after this break, we're going to talk about some things that are going on in the city of Chicago with Block Club Chicago. Stay with us. welcome back to Chicago Now. We are talking all things really Chicago news right now. We want to bring in John Hansen from Block Club Chicago. I chuckle a little bit because we always say we want you here in the studio and it never seems to happen, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, it's cold. Today's really cold, guys. Come on now. I'm cozy in here. I got a sweater. You know, this room I pump up to about 77 degrees, so we're rocking here. Understood. Okay, I saw something on Block Club's Instagram, I think it was yesterday, and it was really starting to get some action. This was a Little Village chamber leader who was in the midst of thanking federal immigration agents for their work, which is really interesting considering what Little Village has gone through. The chamber is there to support businesses. We know a lot of those businesses were impacted by federal agents being on the ground there. People weren't out as much. Talk to me about, you know, how that video even came to light. How did you guys even know it existed? This is the Chamber's Director of Outreach and Community Development. You can see him there on the left outside of the car there. His name is Olman Chahini, and he is, you know, and he was, until we show this video to the Chamber, still on the Chamber for Little Village. And look, no community is a monolith, right? There are obviously people in every community that support what ICE was doing, and there's a lot of people in communities that oppose what ICE was doing. Everyone is, of course, entitled to their opinion. I think what makes this striking is it not only happened on a day in which people were detained in the Little Village community, but where tear gas was used on parts of the community, which, of course, then entered the court system and went through this whole back and forth, and we've talked about this ad nauseum. But the staffer, you know, of course, is part of the Chamber of Commerce. And another interesting angle of the story is how much businesses have been affected by the roundup. Even if you supported ICE and their efforts in Little Village, okay, but no doubt it has impacted a lot of the businesses who are going down. And as the leader, or one of the leaders of the Chamber of Commerce, a lot of people think that he should keep the views of the Chamber while interacting with federal officials. And it's not just a, hey, how are you guys doing? It's a, I thank you, God bless you guys, keep doing what you're doing. And it seemed like the officers had known him and interacted with him in the past. Maybe he had made these, maybe he had talked to them before. We're still trying to get comment from him. He's not willing to do so. But we brought the video to the Little Village Chamber, and he's now a former part of the Chamber. We don't know if he resigned or if they asked him to, or they let him go, or we're still trying to dig a little bit into that. But how we got the video is essentially we're party to a lawsuit. That was the lawsuit that got to Judge Ellis, the one that we've talked about with Bovino. And so we were allowed as plaintiffs to get access to a ton of video of some body cam footage that had been used in the court proceedings. And we are just digging through all this video. And one of our reporters spotted this person and listened, and that's how we got the story.
Yeah, which really shows the importance of community journalism, meaning having boots on the ground in a lot of these different areas, because maybe someone that covers general news in Chicago wouldn't have recognized that face. Does that mean that there are other stories that potentially could be coming out in the future from Block Club as you continue to go? How much video are we talking about?
Hours of video, right? Multiple different angles from body cameras on specific days and specific instances that were brought before the court. And I don't want to puff out our chest or pat ourselves on the back, but we're the local outlet that was part of the lawsuit. And this was a lawsuit about them pepper spraying and using the pepper balls against 4 of our own journalists that were covering what was happening in Broadview. That case has now been dismissed because of how Operation Midway Blitz has run down. But as part of the litigation, yeah, we got to access the videos. There will be more stories. We're really trying to do now, and I don't want to tip our hat too much, and we'll, of course, keep everyone here at Fox 32 and your viewers aware of what's happening, is what was told to us what we see in videos. And this happens a lot after police-involved shootings involving Chicago Police Department, where, you know, maybe it lines up completely with what CPD said or not. So we're going to go through the timelines and see, did what they say line up with what happened on the street? And someone might say, well, what's the big deal now? The Operation Midway Blitz is essentially over. While there are still detentions happening, what is the big deal? But I think you guys would agree, and most journalists would. It's our job, even if the story is maybe a little past to hold people accountable for what they tell. We have a story out today about the use of propaganda by the Department of Homeland Security and ICE and what that means. And I think it's important to tell the story wherever it may lead. And look, there might be some videos that back up exactly what Department of Homeland Security told us and told journalists, and we'll be sure to report that too.
Yeah, I think that this is going to stay top of mind for a long time. So however long it takes and a story comes out even a year from now, it's definitely going to still be interesting. Let's talk about this hemp ban that passed. Obviously, it could cost city hundreds of jobs, business owners say. So what went down? What should people know?
Yeah, so the hemp ban has to go before the full city council, but as you mentioned, it passed through this committee that then will send it to the full city council next week. This is one of the most, I'm not a scientist, so anytime I try and explain the difference between hemp and legalized cannabis, I'm not great at it, but it's through some separation process. The THC is used in one way for hemp products, and we see it infused in this beer here. A lot of breweries use it, the THC infused product. This has been kind of like a federal loophole for years. It's all part of the Farm Bill that had languished and hadn't been changed since 2018. See, I'm already boring myself while talking about it, but the point is that hemp was legal and then cannabis became legal, and a lot of the legal pot shops, they sell cannabis products legally, and a lot of other people were shut out of that process. So some of them went to open up hemp stores, and these places get mixed reviews, right? Some of them really take it seriously. They card everyone that comes in, and they swear that they test the product, or they make sure there's third parties testing all these products, and that they only use safe products. Other places, the older people have argued they're letting underage people buying these products under the age of 18, that some of these are designed to look like Skittles or other candy, and there could be confusion at the point of sale. But THC is more than just the hemp products in the hemp stores that we see. As we saw that photo, it's been in breweries that are now, some of them, seeing a quarter of their business being THC-infused beer. So the feds, when the government shutdown happened and they came up to a solution, they actually banned hemp products, but that doesn't take into effect until next year. The city, Alderman Quinn and some others, want to get ahead of that and ban it citywide. So that's where we are now. A lot of hemp shop owners and brewery owners were at this meeting yesterday trying to beg, saying, look, a lot of us rely on this. It's hundreds of jobs, as you mentioned, and we work with the regulations. We are completely within the law. We follow it. Maybe we do need to have some more regulations and rules on how we manage this and how we do it, but please do not just ban it outright in the city, because it's going to immediately shut down our shops on day one. So I don't have any polling on it. I mean, we just anecdotally talked to some people who obviously support the businesses that are trying to do this and do this in the right way. But a lot of people think that they're a blight in the neighborhood, depending on where they are and how they operate. And Marty Quinn, who's on the southwest side, has banned it in his ward, has banned these shops in his ward using aldermanic prerogative. But now it could be, as of next week, we'll see how the vote goes, an all-out city ban.
I mean, do we have
Does that make any sense? I am always babbling on, guys.
No, honestly, you broke it down really well, because it is complicated. It's different, yet the same. I don't know. But you're right. Some of those shops do look a lot like dispensaries, and they're in the middle of places that are closer to schools, closer to these places. I mean, how likely? Do you have any idea, John, that it will be passed by city council?
I lost my city council crystal ball years ago. But there's definitely a lot of older people who support it. The vote passed through the committee 10-6. So this isn't some unanimous uphill battle that they're climbing. You mentioned the other shops. I just do find an interesting angle to this story is, and you guys have reported on this too, how few people got to be able to sell legal cannabis, and how that for the most part went to majority white ownership groups. And a lot of people went to the hemp business instead because it was legal and it was way more accessible for them to be able to open the business, and a much fairer process, they said. So they say that this cuts out a lane for people to operate in this space where the other area has been shut out. So I think that's an interesting wrinkle and argument that makes this a little bit more complex than just should these shops operate or not.
You know, John, one issue that we have talked about, it started earlier this week when we talked to Mark Tompkins with the German American Chamber of Commerce. We had him on our show, and he talked about the issue with the Christkindlmarket. And that day, they had actually met with the city. They actually raised the capacity level a little bit, I think by like 1,000. So now it's like 2,500 people. It sounds like the city wants them to move to a new location. What's the drama there as of late?
Yeah, so the Christkindlmarket I'm not going to say a bad thing about it, except that it's way too crowded, or it used to be. I mean, have you guys ever waited in line to get in and then you can't move? I mean, it's part of the fun experience, especially on a cold day like this. You're all bundled in, getting your hot tea, or you're buying your little whatever you're buying there, all the German stuff. It's great. But it has been a mess, right? So what the city tried to do is say, look, we need to limit capacity. This is not safe to have this many people in here. It's not efficient. But they brought that number down to 1,500 visitors at a time. And like a bar we went to in our 20s, there's a little guy with a clicker there, and they check to see how many people are going in and out, right? Keep in mind, during COVID, it was capped at 3,500 people. So this was 2,000 less than during a global pandemic where we were trying to prevent people from being together. So the merchants, because this ordinance came like right before it opened, said, whoa, I mean, we're just not seeing the foot traffic. We rely on this being a crowded event, and we need X amount of people going through X amount of shops to make a profit in this. And like you're saying, yes, they reached a compromise. They brought it up to 2,500, but merchants are still saying that's still 1,000 less than when there was a pandemic. There's got to be a better way to do this. So this discussion has been, and the mayor kind of flat out suggested this, should this move? Daily Plaza is big when nothing's there, but small when you pack all these things in. We have Grant Park. We have Millennium Park. We have a lot of big open spaces that are extremely underutilized come late November and early December. Maybe that's a better spot for it. I mean, the Christkindlmarket folks themselves say, look, Daily Plaza is our home, but we are open to any suggestions. I think that's this is a personal aside. That's a no-brainer. Put it in a bigger space nearby. Give people a little bit more shoulder room, keep it safe, and keep the merchants happy. That seems like a great compromise to me. I think some people do love the idea that it's kind of like in the loop and the tall buildings surrounded. It has a different feel than maybe the Grant Park feel or the Millennium Park feel. So I don't know. Whatever can give me a little shoulder room, I'm happy with.
I will say that's my personal opinion too. Why not move it to a bigger space?
And it's outgrown it. I mean, and that's actually a good thing. I mean, there's a lot of places, events that have happened where they have not seen growth, and this is a situation where they've seen a lot of growth. And in this case in particular, what I find very interesting is that, the city came down with this capacity limit, and it was too late for a lot of these vendors to react. So they had already purchased things from Germany, hit with tariffs and things like that. So hopefully the next time this situation can be mitigated.
From what I understand, it's pretty competitive to become a vendor there, so maybe they can open up to more people. I did go actually on the opening day with my mom when she was visiting. We got there right at 11 o'clock. It was perfect, but I was wondering, because the stories hadn't really come out yet, why there's such a long line around the corner. I thought maybe it's a store down the street that I couldn't see over the buildings.
But capacity.
It was huge. It was long. You're right.
They
would have a line sometimes even when they were at full capacity, let alone this. You guys are so right to point out those two things. First of all, how quick this was until they decided to do it. And you're right. They had already bought all their goods, the things that they were going to anticipate on selling, using previous year's numbers as a barometer for the future. The tariffs, I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right. A lot of people buying things that they had to import or pay the tariff when they came into the United States. And the competitive nature about getting one of these slots, it is competitive. It's their 30th anniversary next year. I really think they want to stay in Daily Plaza for that year. At least that's what they've said. But there's got to be a middle ground here. And you're right. It's amazing that it's grown this big. I mean, they opened up one in Wrigleyville because because it was so popular, right? I mean,
and one in the suburbs too, right? Aurora. Yeah, that's right.
Aurora's got one?
Yes, they do. And I think, John, Tia, you correct me if I'm wrong, but was it last year or 2 years ago when they kiboshed the one over in Wrigley for the year, and it was even more chaotic, it felt like, downtown, because a lot of that traffic wasn't diverted. Like, okay,
that's right, because of the Winter Classic, the hockey game.
Yes, that was it. All
Anyways,
right, John,
I'm
you always
excited
have
for
a lot
Christmas.
of stuff.
I got all my trees, my lights, and everything up. I'm going to start my own little Christkindlmarket in my driveway if y'all want to come.
There you go. We love it. No capacity at John's.
Yeah, limit capacity, though. Just us three.
Okay, fine.
All right, John. It's always a good time. Thank you so much for being with us today. We'll see you next time in studio.
Take care, yes.
All right, take care. All right, well, we're coming up. Maybe you're already thinking about vacation. I know I am. Where do you want to go in the year 2026? I would like to go on vacation right now, but where do you want to go in the year 2026? Maybe you're trying to get your wallet prepared for it. We're going to talk to an expert right after this break.
This
Welcome back to Chicago Now. Even in the mix of all of the holiday stuff that's going on, they're saying that now is actually the best time to start planning your 2026 trip, which makes sense. You want to have your wallet ready. As you said, you want to make sure you're spending your money on the right place for you. Well, we're taking a look at some of the must-see destinations people are talking about with Katie Nastro of going.com. Thank you so much, Katie, for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, let's talk about these most popular destinations for 2026. What do you think?
So it's twofold. We are seeing, based on our Going state of travel, that for travelers this year, they're looking at one big trip. They're looking at places internationally, particularly in Asia. We've seen growing interest there. So places like Seoul, South Korea, there's going to be expanded long-haul flights to Seoul, making it a really vibrant choice if you're taking that one big trip and you want to go somewhere in Asia, as well as with expanded service to places like Malta. We're also seeing a growing interest in travelers looking for something that's slightly less crowded from the Romes or the Paris, but looking for something that adds that Mediterranean feel and also that specialness if, again, you are taking that one big trip. So a lot of destinations that we are seeing overall interest growing in, and we're seeing travelers just thinking about travel in a different way versus last year.
You know, Katie, I'll admit, and maybe some of our viewers feel this way too, I'm one of those people where let me just get into that year so I can kind of figure out, you know, what I'm going to do for the year. Are there certain dates that we should be thinking about right now that will be better for our wallet? Maybe you will have the opportunity to do more of the touristy things because there's less crowds. And are there places like that that we should be thinking about right now, and where are those places?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that we can talk about, and we talk about it all the time over at Going, is taking advantage of the low season, which we're coming into. You know, I think everybody sort of hyper focuses on the winter holidays as a time period for travel, but something really amazing happens right after about January 7th. We come into this time period where fewer people travel and prices become so much more affordable. So take, for example, you can fly from Chicago out to a destination like London for almost less than $400, $399 round trip. So things like that are just an example, or places like that are just an example of how taking advantage of a low season like January, parts of February, can actually be best for your wallet, and you see fewer crowds during this time period because less people are traveling in general.
See, and that's interesting, but I would think like the opposite, because people here, especially here in Chicago or Midwest, you know, you're dealing with the weather. You want to get away probably to a warmer tropical destination. Yeah. Is it still expensive for those kind of destinations during kind of that low season, as you say?
Yeah, no, it actually still becomes more affordable just to travel generally to, again, places that are cool, but also places that are warm weather. So places like the Caribbean as well as Florida, you know, just as for some examples. And it's really taking advantage of the fact that fewer people are traveling in general. But when you start to look at February, that's where things become a little bit more expensive, especially over those school holidays. That's where really you want to try to not target, because that is when we do see those prices start to soar. So if you can be a little bit flexible on your timing, the low season is actually a really great time to take advantage of for destinations all over, cool or warm.
Okay. You know, so I'm looking at this, Katie, and I'm seeing that we're on the going.com website. You are with going.com. You know, a lot of people are going to the websites that they use all the time, hotels.com, Expedia, all these places. Tell us about going.com and what's really useful about going to that website versus maybe some of the other competitors out there.
Yeah, so you can spend a ton of time trying to search for that perfect flight to get that perfect price. But what we do is we take all of that searching out for you, and we help you find flight deals that are between 40 and 90% off. Perfect example of how I was able to take advantage of Going. I booked a trip to Seoul, kid you not, for only $359 round trip from the West Coast. Now, I'm based in New York, but I can stitch together a cheap budget flight over to Seattle to then get on that flight, and I'm saving so much overall because I was able to take advantage of that Going deal when it came in. So instead of searching, we help you find flight deals that you would want to take. Not tons of connections, not at times that you wouldn't want to take, and on full service carriers. We're not sending any budget carriers because those prices are already deeply discounted as is. We want to send you those flight deals on those flights you actually want to take.
So wait, I have a question for you. Considering that that flight was so low, what would typically that flight cost someone?
Oh gosh, from Chicago, perfect example, if you were looking to go to Seoul, that trip would cost you roughly $1,200.
Wow.
You got a really good deal.
I hope you enjoyed, Katie.
Did.
I hope you ate lots of good food and you just relaxed. You know, I should ask you, because you're so well traveled, what is one of your favorite places to go?
Oh, this is such a tough question, but I'm glad you asked it. I will scream from the rooftops about Australia. I love pretty much every city that I've been to in Australia. I have been over 12 times, which is such a gift, and I am super grateful. My body is not grateful because the travel to get there is quite extensive, but it is such an incredible place with so many different climates and experiences and sights. And if you're a person that truly loves the beach, because most of the cities are built on coasts, it is so incredible to be able to experience public beaches like that at any given area around the country.
You know, one thing people love to travel for are the experiences, right? Of course, you love the scenery and all of that, but really having some of the most unique experiences. What were some of your experiences there? Maybe somebody's watching right now and they're thinking, hey, I might put that on my bucket list.
Hopefully not the big spiders, because that's all I see with Australia, to be honest with you.
Those, the wildlife in Australia is wild. I can definitely say that in confidence. But I mean, getting to scuba dive the Great Barrier Reef was something that I didn't have on my bingo card, but I'm so glad that I did it. But even just all of the nature in the botanical gardens, there is an area called the Northern Rivers area, and it is some of the most stunning beaches in the world. Cabarita Beach, for example, is voted one of the best beaches in the entire world, 9 times out of 10 by multiple different publications. And it is a public beach that you can just spend the day at, and really you sit there and you're just in awe of the beauty around you. There's so many coastal walks as well. The Bondi to the Sydney coastal walk, the Bondi to Coogee walk is exceptional. It's free to the public. It's paved, so it's a really easy walk, but it is quite a bit. So definitely having breakfast after, you're going to work up an appetite. But it really shows you the splendor and just the real true beauty of the coastal areas of Australia. So you know, it's free, which is always great to hear. But it is so extraordinary, and even though it is a very long trip, it is worth it.
Sounds like you would move there. It does. like you got read many a times. Maybe one day in the future.
And come visit you, okay, Katie? You know.
Ooh, that's one of the spiders.
See, this is what
that we were talking
Katie.
about.
Yeah,
whoa.
You know what? You almost sold me, and then they brought up this puppy.
Did you see anything like that when you were there?
You know, I'm not going to lie, I did see some big spiders. They have this, I don't exactly have the type of spider name off the top of my head, but there are these big black spiders that live in the trees, and they actually look like a child's drawing of what a spider would look like. They have a big round body and all these little legs that are come off, but they're harmless. And so that's what you got to remember if you ever encounter one.
Ooh, I can't do the arachnids.
I don't know.
I don't do arachnids at all, period.
I don't know. Okay, let's talk about travel again.
Yes, let's go back to that.
You know, times are tough right now. Obviously, people have a lot more important things to spend money on. What would you say? It's nice that going.com has an option to find these cheaper flights and stuff, but is there a certain amount, if people want to take a bigger vacation overseas, that they should make sure at least they have this amount saved, and this will take you a long ways?
Yeah, you know, I always say that travel is subjective, and your budget might look different from anyone else's. So I think, you know, specifically, I want people to remember that you can take an affordable trip, and there are ways to save, especially if you're looking just to do that one big trip, which is really a theme that we're seeing for 2026. We're coming out of that I need to travel or bust mentality that we came out of hovering from the pandemic, and really looking at being more intentional with our travels. So when it comes to budgets, you know, specifically if you're one of those people that want to go to Europe, for example, you know, not overspending on the flight is the first way to be able to save or just, you know, sort of start your planning. And I want people to target between $450 and just under $600 as a really great price for coming from Chicago out to various major cities in Europe. And again, a great way to do that is traveling in the low season. But shoulder seasons as well can be a really great time to get better weather, which I know is something that people from Chicago definitely look for or forward to. Trying to target the low season for better weather, better prices, and fewer crowds as well. So think about September, October, even parts of early November, or even looking ahead to the future in the spring, you know, looking at, say, April, May, even early June if you did want to sort of get a jump start on summer. And flexibility is always going to be a great way to save, you know, combining hotels with long-term stays, you know, Airbnbs, things of that nature. And then even, you know, the one big tip I would love to impart on people, I always say eat your dinner for lunch, as in go to those fancier restaurants that you've had on your bucket list, do their price set menu for lunch, and you're able to save a lot more versus trying to get in when they're super busy and when they have those super higher prices for dinner is also a great way to save.
That's good advice.
Katie, that wasn't top of mind, so thank you very much. I think you sold Tia Ewing here.
Yeah, I just downloaded the Going app. Literally, as you were talking.
There you go.
I was listening, but I was downloading too.
Katie Nastro, Going.com. Thank you so much for chatting with us. We will have you back maybe after the new year. Give people a little bit more reminder of where they should be booking for 2026. Hey, 2027 too. We appreciate your time.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much. Happy travels, everyone.
Thank you. Okay, now coming up, best places to retire.
Can I go now?
Yeah, you have a couple more years.
No, I don't. Okay. I ain't got no more years left in me.
All right, we'll be right back.
We'll be right back. My arm went up on that one. Welcome back. Maybe you are already thinking about retirement, and we're going to talk about the top 5 best places to consider retiring. And joining us now is Chip Lupo, writer and analyst at WalletHub. Thank you so much for your time today.
My pleasure. Appreciate having me on.
So let's talk about this top 5 best cities. Tell us how these cities are ranked, and let's talk about number 1 on the list.
Okay, starting from number 5.
Okay, we'll go opposite.
Yeah, so starts from the bottom up. Tampa, Florida at number 5. Miami, Florida at 4. Minneapolis, Scottsdale, Arizona at 2, and number 1, Orlando, Florida.
Okay, I feel like a lot of those,
you seeing a trend here in the top
I was going to say, yeah, it doesn't really surprise me that Florida is high on the list with all three of those options. But Minneapolis, that kind of does surprise me because of the weather we see.
Well, this is one of the interesting things that came out of this study is that folks, particularly those on fixed incomes, people are looking to stretch their retirement dollars a little bit more. The cost of everything is so high, and kind of breaking that conventional wisdom of just automatically heading to Florida because the weather's nice. What Minneapolis has going for it is that it is a leading hub in healthcare. Healthcare is a big thing on people's minds today, particularly in retirement with fixed incomes and the cost of healthcare skyrocketing and access. Minneapolis has all of that. It's home to the Mayo Clinic. There's just world-class facilities. Access is very good. And Minneapolis also has a very high senior job market. Now, a lot of folks, when they retire, they don't necessarily plan on stopping working. They're going to do something, not necessarily what they've been doing for the last 30 years or so, whether it's to supplement their incomes or maybe just for the social aspect of it, whether it's volunteer work. So there's a lot of opportunities for seniors to enter the workforce in Minneapolis.
It's so clean there. That's the one thing I think of is
city.
Very, very clean. Let's talk about Scottsdale, because when I think about Scottsdale, I think expensive.
Yeah.
Yes, the weather's beautiful, but that's one of the first things I think of is it's a little pricier compared to some of the other places. Miami's expensive too. Why Scottsdale on that list?
Yeah, Scottsdale is the priciest of the top 5. It is not cheap. It's a booming real estate market for one thing. So cost of housing is very high. And it's just generally, cost of living across the board is high in pretty much everywhere in the Phoenix metro area. But the thing about Arizona and Florida also is that it's kind of offset because it's very tax friendly. There's no state income taxes, and there are no taxes. There's no estate taxes or an inheritance taxes. So it kind of balances itself out at the end.
Good point.
Yeah,
very good point.
You know, Chicago did not make the list, Chip. What was that about?
Chicago is about middle, maybe below average. 101st out of the 182 cities in our study. Affordability is an issue. Quality of life is an issue. But the one thing that Chicago does have going for it, for seniors who choose to do so, is that it's very activities friendly. There's plenty to do for seniors in and around Chicago, whether it's museums, art galleries. It's a good sports city. But you're going to pay a pretty good price to be able to do those things in Chicago.
That's true.
And then, of course, the weather also is a factor there. And healthcare is about average there. So you're better off, if you want cold weather, you're better off in Minneapolis.
I'm just curious about Northwest Indiana, because it is so close to us. A lot of people, even here in the state of Illinois, they come here for work, but they live in Indiana. How did Indiana fare on that list? Maybe any places in Indiana?
Well, Fort Wayne, Indiana was 117th on the list. Indianapolis, a little bit more center, but Fort Wayne is probably closer to that northwest quarter you were talking about. Much of the same issues with Chicago, but just not as much to do. A little bit more affordable, but the quality of life is a little bit less than what you would find in Chicago.
Yeah, I could probably see with transportation and stuff, it would be a little harder. At least Chicago has like the public transportation and stuff that I think could be used to your advantage. But it's interesting that you mentioned, you know, the job opportunity for people who are retired, having those kind of like one-off part-time jobs.
He mentioned public safety too.
Yeah,
as we hear the siren in the background.
Just ignore that. Just normal Chicago stuff that we here.
So that's not just a sound effect. Okay.
Yeah, right.
No, that's the real thing.
But, you know, how important is that to seniors? How often do you think that, is there some kind of stat maybe that you can share with us of people who are searching for that part-time job once they're retired?
Well, it's prevalent. I don't have the hard data in front of me, but I would say it's close to a majority, maybe half or maybe even more, because when you've worked your whole life, 30, 40 years, you still want to do something, whether it's a part-time job or volunteer job. So I do think that comes into play a lot, whether it's in Florida or Minneapolis or Chicago or wherever. You do want to go to a place where you're going to have something to do. Again, whether it's to supplement your income or for the social aspect. People just want to go out and just be social. And a part-time job or a volunteer job is a great way to do that.
Chip, we talked about specifically Scottsdale on that list being one of the higher end of things. How much should people be saving for retirement if they're looking to go to any of these top places to live and call home?
Wow, well, with retirement, the key is to start early. And again, because more and more people are focusing on saving and making sure, especially if you're on a fixed income, making those retirement dollars. But the top 5 now in terms of affordability is interesting. Orlando, believe it or not, is 5th overall in affordability because it's a very tax-friendly city in a very tax-friendly state. But other top places for affordability, Knoxville, Tennessee, that's a booming area for retirement. It's a pretty mild climate.
I love that.
2 cities in Wyoming, Cheyenne, Wyoming, and Casper, Wyoming, 1 and 3, and then Brownsville, Texas at number 2. Again, when you have states that don't charge you state income taxes, and then a lot of these states are very retirement friendly, they don't tax your investments, they don't tax inheritance or state taxes. People are looking more and more into those types of.
So very much depends on where you're moving to. Well, Chip, thank you so much. Chip Lupo with WalletHub.
We've run out of time, Chip.
All right, everyone at home, we will see you tomorrow on Friday. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday.
We'll see you then.
Live from Chicago, this is Fox